Hello everyone! Today I have a different kind of tutorial for you, and I have received several requests for this kind of look in the past, but with the summer season coming up, meaning lots of internships and potential new jobs, I have decided to create and show you how to achieve this super easy everyday makeup look for interviews or work. And of course you can always wear less if that's what you're comfortable with, but my idea of putting your best foot forward is feeling as confident and as polished as possible, meaning that starts with great skin and a luminous complexion. Make sure to use that concealer, and of course some color well placed on the face, very thoroughly blended in. So to share how to properly prep and prime the skin, I started with my complete skincare routine. I've been flooded with requests recently for skincare routine videos, so I decided to show you exactly how I layer my products before makeup, and this routine works really well for me. It keeps my skin balanced, fresh, and hydrated all day long without having too much oil break throughout the day. And today I also used my Coquetto Moisture Foundation, which I have been loving. I also took advantage of this tutorial to feature some more Armani eyeshadows, and I think Armani eyeshadows are perfect for everyday use. They're not too shimmery, and even for a conservative setting where matte eyeshadows are probably a good idea, there's enough range in the Eyes to Kill 4-color eyeshadow palettes to suit any sort of preference, so I highly recommend looking into those if you are looking for professional everyday use eyeshadows. And without any further ado, let's begin with the tutorial. So I'm going to begin with my everyday skincare routine for the morning, and I'm going to begin with my toner on a cotton pad, and I'm just going to gently press this into my skin. You don't want to rub or else you will see some redness. Just gently wipe down the face. Now I'm going to take a palmful of the essence and just gently apply that to the face, pressing it in. And now that the essence has dried down, I am just gently applying my favorite serum. And I prefer to use this one during the day because it really works well under makeup because it has a naturally brightening effect, and you can see it immediately upon application. Now I'm applying a moisturizer with some SPF, and instead of rubbing it across the skin, you can actually just tap it in like this. Never forget to wear sunscreen even when it's cloudy outside because it will help prevent your skin from aging overall, and if you have acne scars like I do, it will prevent the scars from getting darker. So now I'm just going to move on to the final step of my skincare, which is eye cream. I absolutely love this eye cream because it absorbs almost instantly, and again it works really well under makeup. And now that my skincare is complete, I'm going to use my Mika First Shoe Shimura Pore Eraser UV Underbase Mousse as a primer, and I'm just going to shake it up. This moussey primer will also give me added SPF protection. This has an SPF of 35. A little definitely goes a long way, so don't pump out too much of the product since you'll waste it. Now I'm going to move on to foundation. This shade 113 is a perfect match for my complexion, and it has just enough of a yellow tone. Doesn't make me look sallow, but it definitely evens out the redness of my complexion. So I love this stuff. As you can see, it's still sheer with one base coat, and you can still see the little scab here from my blackhead, but I will say never pick up the scabs or else they will scar, so don't just try to pluck it off. I'm going to apply a second layer just so you can see how buildable the foundation is. And now that my second layer of foundation is on, I'm just going to go ahead and conceal any dark circles or blemishes. I'm just going to use a bit of the Clé de Peau concealer stick, and I'm just going to blend this in with my fingertips, which I think is the best method for this particular concealer under the eyes. And if I've learned anything from having acne this past year, it is to cover scars and active pimples with a concealer brush. I feel like it's the most effective method and long-lasting way to cover up those troublesome spots. And I'm just using a small synthetic Sigma brush, which I have found works really well. Now, if I were really on my way to an interview, I would definitely use a loose powder, but because my makeup does break down a lot more easily under the hot lights that I use to film, I'm going to use a powder foundation. and I'm using the one by Chanel that I brought back with me from Asia, from Singapore. It does look a little powdery at first, but you can spritz it down with a finishing spray, although I'm not going to since the lights will do that for me in just a few minutes. But if you want to try a new loose powder, I highly recommend the YSL. This is the Soufflé d'Éclat, and this is a loose powder with a little bit of shimmer, but it really brightens up the skin. And I have color number 3, which is more yellow toned, and so it works with my skin color really well. So again, loose powder or pressed powder, whichever you tend to use, go with what you feel more comfortable with. The less you use on the skin, the better, but again, I did use a powder foundation because of the filming setup. So now I'm going to move on to brows, and I always use my Clé de Peau eyebrow pencil. And now that my brows are complete, I'm going to get started with eyeshadow. I'm going to use a fluffy blending brush and pop a brown crease color into the outer corner of the lids. And now I'm going to take a softly shimmering peach and place it all over the lid. Now using the same brush, I'm just going to pop the ivory shade into the inner corner, a little bit into the peach and across the lower lash line. Now I'm just layering a little bit more of the peach eyeshadow to make sure that the ivory pink highlight blends well, and I'm also blending a little bit of the peach into the brown. We're going to blend everything together to make sure it all looks seamless. But before we do that, I'm going to take a little bit of the pink eyeshadow, and I'm just going to place it in the outer corner of the crease area between the peach and the brown. And I'm just going to blend those two together in the outer corner. Then using a clean, fluffy blending brush, I'm using a Tom Ford brush here, I'm just going to blend away at the edges of this look. And if you like a little bit more definition, you can always take the brown eyeshadow brush that we used without any extra product. Don't add any additional eyeshadow to the brush, and just simply blend out the corner for a little bit more depth so that your eyes look a little deeper set. Now I'm going to complete this eyeshadow look with a thin line of liquid eyeliner, and I'm just going to flick out the line just a little bit instead of creating a full cat eye like I usually wear. So as you can see, eyeliner totally creates a complete look, so don't skip out on the eyeliner. If you don't like to wear liquid eyeliner on top, at least tightline with a pencil. And of course now I'm going to finish off with a little bit of mascara. I'm just applying a quick coat to my upper lashes. As you can see, the Shu Uemura lashes are very, very natural. So now I'm just going to tightline my upper waterline so that the lashes and my natural lashes blend together perfectly. And now here is a close-up with the lashes. I really love the look. So now I'm going to move on with the rest of the color. And this is the Naked Flush palette in Native. I'm going to start off with a hint of blush, and I'm going to apply it in a 45-degree angle or so to give myself a slightly slimmer face. It's just an illusion, but it's a very helpful one. Now I'm going to take the highlighter color just gently across the top of the blush. And last but not least, for the face, I'm going to use a little bit of the bronzer just to sculpt the jawline area. And I'm going to apply a little bit under the cheekbone area, blending it in with the blush and the highlighter. Taking some to the top of the hairline. Don't use any additional powder, just take your brush that you applied your powder with and just thoroughly blend it in so that there are no lines, and again, everything looks nice and seamless. Some say less is more, but I feel like if you want to wear bronzer, blush, and highlight, there's nothing wrong with it as long as you use it in moderation and make sure it is well applied and thoroughly blended. So now, last but not least, I'm going to complete the lips and we shall be done. So I'm going to use a soft matte lip color. This is the YSL Kiss and Blush Baby Doll. I absolutely love how natural and healthy it looks. It doesn't look like I'm wearing too much lipstick because it is a slightly sheerer formula, but to add a little bit more of a healthy tint since it can accentuate dry patches, I'm going to use a little bit of a very natural lip gloss, and this is my absolute favorite for hydration. I'm just going to take it on a finger and dab it on. And that way my lips won't look too glossy and attract too much attention, but it will keep them nice and hydrated throughout the day. And that's a wrap for my take on interview makeup. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and again, please don't forget the importance of really great skincare and great foundation to give you the most luminous complexion possible. You really want to look like yourself, but the most polished, sophisticated version, so that way you'll feel more confident when you look in the mirror and then when you step into the room. And never forget to apply a little bit of hand cream before heading in for your very first impression with a great handshake. Also, I do recommend staying away from perfume just because you never know what someone may be irritated by. And of course, if you have any questions about the products that I used in this tutorial, please feel free to leave them down below and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. I'll see you all very soon. Bye!